Welcome to Tutorial 3, Framework Tools, for the Redevelopment Framework for Farm and Service Stations in the Province of Ontario. This tutorial provides an introduction to the various tools that were developed as part of the framework. For additional information on how to use the framework, please refer to the other tutorials available on the framework website. From the entry page of the framework, there are direct links to the tools included in the framework. There is also a link to the descriptions of the various tools. This summary page provides a brief description of the various tools developed as part of the framework. The tools can be accessed through this summary page, through the drop-down menu, or through links located in the relevant key elements. The first tool listed on the summary page is the framework diagram, which outlines all of the key elements along the path to redevelopment. For more detailed guidance on how to use the framework diagram, please refer to Tutorial 2, Getting Started, available on the framework website. The next tool is the screening matrix for property use and redevelopment potential. This tool was designed to assist municipalities, property owners, and developers make a preliminary assessment of the redevelopment potential of a former service station site. The matrix addresses how the net site value and municipal site considerations play a role in creating value for a typical former service station site. It requires a Phase 2 environmental site assessment to determine the environmental considerations and fits into the beginning of Stage 2, Evaluation and Planning. It is meant to be used as a starting point for discussions between municipalities, property owners, and developers regarding specific sites. The net value of a site, which is the final property value minus the cost of remediation, is indicated across the top, and it ranges from a negative net value on the left to a positive net value on the right. Municipal considerations are indicated along the left side, and range from a site being located in an area with little municipal interest or focus, up to the site being in an area that is part of a community improvement plan or revitalization strategy. If a site is located in an area with no plans or redevelopment focus and has a negative net site value, then it would fall within the bottom left box. It is identified as having very poor redevelopment potential and provides guidance regarding what steps to follow. In this example, it identifies that the framework would not be applicable, but that there may be an opportunity to develop an interim use where the municipality enters into an aesthetics or surface use agreement with the owner that may include an interim site management obligation. In comparison, if a site is located in an area with a community improvement plan or revitalization strategy and has a positive net site value, then the site falls in the top right corner. It is identified as having very good redevelopment potential, and users are instructed to engage the owner and developer early and follow the framework to redevelop the site. The matrix also shows how the redevelopment potential of a site can be improved. The bottom yellow arrow shows that a site can shift to the right if either the property value increases or the cost of remediation decreases. For instance, a risk assessment may reduce the cost of remediation through the use of property-specific standards or risk management. The right yellow arrow shows that a site can shift up the matrix if the municipality implements policies, protocols, or incentives targeted towards former service station sites. The next tool is for the selection of remediation technologies and risk management on typical service stations. This tool is meant to provide general information and background for municipalities and other stakeholders to understand various remediation and risk management options, and is located within the key element Environmental Site Management Options in Stage 2, Evaluation and Planning. It provides information on the relative chance of success, approximate cost and time involved, regulatory requirements, and other considerations for remediation to generic standards for both soil and water, remediation to property-specific standards, and risk management. This tool is not meant as a substitute for expert opinion. For property-specific decisions, proponents need to engage in the services of a qualified person. Let's take a brief look at the table to compare some different approaches. As you can see, excavation and off-site disposal has a high chance of success, with a fairly short time frame and an approximate cost of $100,000 to $300,000. In situ on-site treatment has a medium chance of success, a significantly longer time frame, and a higher approximate cost. In addition to this information, some other considerations may be of interest. For instance, in situ treatment generally creates minimal site disturbance. There is also information for remediation to property-specific standards and the use of risk management. As noted at the bottom of the table, these time and cost estimates are based on a typical service station with 2,000 tons of soil required in remediation. The next tool listed is for implementing remediation and risk management. This flowchart assists stakeholders in understanding the approval process and timelines associated with remediation and risk management measures. This tool is located in the remediation and risk management key elements in Stage 3 implementation and provides information on where the document should be submitted to, who the approving authority is, and estimated timelines. As you can see, the three streams are present, as well as estimates of the time involved for each step. Remediation to generic standards is fairly straightforward, requiring only approvals for remediation, conducting the remediation, and then submission of the record of site condition. Remediation to property-specific standards has those same steps, but before remediation approvals are obtained, the proponent must first submit a pre-submission form to the Environmental Assessment Approvals Branch, which is then reviewed by the District Office and the Standards Development Branch. Once these comments have been received, the proponent submits a risk assessment to the Assessment Approvals Branch, and it goes through an iterative process before being accepted by the Standards Development Branch. Remediation to property-specific standards with risk management follows a similar path, except the District Office must also accept the risk management plan and may issue a certificate of property use if they feel it is necessary. A legend describing all of the acronyms used in this tool is located at the bottom of the flowchart. This page also has links to the definition of a typical service station, the glossary, and a list of abbreviations and acronyms used in the framework. These are also accessible from the main navigation menu. In addition to the tools listed on this page, there is also a guiding principles and best practices that highlights the important considerations for successful service station redevelopment described in the framework. These guiding principles and best practices can be accessed from the entry page or through the main navigation menu. These guiding principles and best practices are meant to quickly convey the key actions that municipalities, property owners, and developers can take to maximize the potential of former service stations. The guiding principles are divided into the 4 stages of redevelopment and can be expanded and collapsed by clicking on the titles. For instance, the guiding principles for Stage 1 include integrate service station redevelopment into the community vision and community improvement plan, streamline the municipal planning approvals process, consult early and frequently with stakeholders, develop cooperative and close working relationships with other governments, and create financial incentives to meet the needs of service station redevelopment. Within each guiding principle, there is information further describing and providing context for the guiding principle, as well as a list of best practices associated with that particular guiding principle. This concludes Tutorial 3, Framework Tools, for the Redevelopment Framework for Former Service Stations in the Province of Ontario. For additional information and guidance on using the framework and the tools contained within it, please refer to the other tutorials available on the framework website.